This is your place for all things Grand Rapids Griffins and all things Toledo Walleye. This is the Hockeytown West Podcast with your host, Brandon Cook and Nick Harrington.
And welcome to the Hockeytown West Podcast, your source for everything Toledo Walleye hockey and Grand Rapids Griffins hockey. I am one of your hosts, Brandon.
And I'm Nick.
And I'm Travis.
And this week, we have a lot of fun stuff to talk about because the Toledo Walleye have swept the Kalamazoo Wings and moved on to round two. This is a fun one. I'm excited, but before we jump into that, Travis, man, how you doing?
I'm good. Tired. It's been quite a week and a half, but we're here.
I think Nick has the most energy out of any of us in this episode tonight, which is the complete opposite from normal. But Nick, how are you doing?
I have tomorrow off. I'm so excited. These 12-hour days are killing me. So got tomorrow off. We got playoff hockey in the band. We got a pig roast. I'm pumped. I'm excited. And be able to watch the Walleye on Saturday because since Griffins aren't playing, so I'll be able to watch them from home and should be good. And then we got Sunday hockey again, so should be a good weekend of hockey.
Yeah, I was really hoping we won that game, so we didn't have the chance of Sunday hockey. Like that would have been nice, a full day off for everybody involved. Would have been great, but we can't win them all, right? Unless you're Toledo, because apparently that's just what they like to do here. So. Quick recap of Game 4, the game that sealed the deal. That's the only game that the Walleye have played since we last recorded a Walleye-related episode. And Game 4 was won 4-2. Dominant fashion by the Walleye. I will give Kalamazoo some credit. They came out, they did try their best for sure, but the Walleye were way too fast for them. So quick rundown of the scoring. Toledo in the first period, 12 minutes, 13 seconds in. Riley McCourt gets his first of the postseason, assisted by Alexander Doucette. And then 18 seconds into the second, it was so fast, I almost missed it. Trenton Bliss gets his second of the playoffs from Lewandowski and Hawkins. And then 11 minutes, 54 seconds into that same period, Bliss gets his third and second of the night, assisted by Doucette and McCallan. Did I get that right, Travis?
I think it's McCallion.
McCallion? It was close.
Like a lion? I don't know. Somebody's getting it right somewhere.
After that, though, Kalamazoo did attempt to make a comeback here, getting 2 goals in the second period before it was over, but Toledo was able to seal the deal. 5 minutes, 57 seconds into the third, Cruz gets his first of the postseason, assisted by Craggs. And like we said, they won 4-2. This was great. A great crowd of Walleye fans that traveled to this to enjoy it. Got to watch Jan Bednar stop 35 of 37. Another fantastic performance from him, continuing the trend of Walleye goalies only allowing 2 goals in the playoffs for each game so far. It's crazy that they've both been able to do that so consistently already, and gets me really excited for this next round. Hunter Vorva at the other end stopped 24 of 28. There was no power plays for either team in this game, which I thought was the weirdest part of the whole thing.
That's weird.
Kalamazoo actually outshot Toledo 37-28, which was a complete flip of the script for games 1, 2, and 3, where the Walleye were just dominating them in the shots category. They let them get more shots and still beat them. It was kind of like they were giving them a chance, but not really. Just kind of toying with them.
False hope.
Yeah, exactly. But a great game. Sadly, only 3,700 people showed up in Kalamazoo there, and I think about 300 of those were Toledo fans throughout the arena, it looked like. So that was great. But yeah, let's recap this a little bit. So Travis, what stood out to you in this one?
Obviously, Bliss with 2 goals, Doucette with 2 assists. Getting the lead early, building on it, I think was their biggest want and what they wanted to accomplish, and they did that. Obviously, the hardest thing to do in a season is end another team season, right? Win that 4th game of a playoff round. And they really showed that killer instinct. Granted, Kalamazoo did put up a fight. I mean, they didn't go away in the second period, but to get that goal from Cruz early in the third, I think that was what they were looking for, to just kind of put a stamp on this series and sweep Kalamazoo under the rug.
Yeah, and it worked out well. And credit to Kalamazoo. They came into this and everyone thought they were going to be the team that actually beat Toledo. But, it was a different Walleye team that they were playing against. They did give it their all. they're putting something good together in Kalamazoo. It's good to see that team be relevant again because the rivalry between these two teams is a lot of fun, especially being so close by. So it was nice to see them back in the playoffs. I'm sure we'll see them again in future years to come, and especially when they get their new arena as well.
You were at this game too, weren't you, Brandon?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, that's what I thought. And it was
He's been
crazy.
to more playoff games than I've been to. and I live 3 hours closer to the team than he does.
Yeah, he's putting a lot of miles on last week, but it's good. You even got into the promo video too.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Our little star.
Oh, shut it. No, it was cool. They had, the whole Walleye tech team was there, man. They had a guy taking video, a guy interviewing people in the crowd. Like, they knew their fans were there and they were going to be in that section. There was going to be a lot of them. And so did Kalamazoo, as they had placed rally towels on every seat in that arena except the ones in the Toledo section, which was really funny.
It's so petty, but it's kind of funny at the same time.
Don't worry, we travel with our own. There was plenty of yellow ones in that section. It was great.
I love it.
Oh, that's just the greatest thing I've ever heard. Somebody put it in the Toledo hockey group, and I was like, and I got a text message from another person that was like, "Did they really not put towels?" And I said, "Yeah, no, that didn't happen. The Walleye fans didn't get towels."
It was funny too, because when we showed up in the section, there was the first 3 rows of that section had towels, and I was like, "That's kind of weird. Did you run out?" And then it was all Kalamazoo fans in the first 3 rows. I was like, "Oh, these poor people have no clue what they're getting themselves into." That was easily the loudest section of the night.
How'd they know that Toledo is in that section?
There's a couple people that reach out to the other teams when they got the schedule, and they book 2 sections, sometimes 3 sections worth of tickets, and they get a big number. You go in, buy your ticket through a specific link, and it's only for those sections where you can pick the tickets. I mean, you can buy a ticket anywhere, but if you're in that section, you're sitting with the Walleye fans. And they did it again for the upcoming series in Wheeling too.
That's super cool though, that they were able to do a group buy of tickets and things like that. And that way everybody's kind of in their own sections and stuff like that. You're not going to see any fights or anything crazy between the fans like we saw when we were in Saginaw.
Yeah. It is cool that they do that. And you see, you keep seeing it more and more in the NHL. I know Nashville was if your credit card zip code is not within the certain range of the arena, you couldn't buy a ticket. And Kalamazoo welcoming in the opposing fans, making it a fun environment. That's what it's all about, man. That's the way playoff hockey is intended to be. If these people want to travel to the team and go watch them, let them happen. Let's make it fun. And the chants back and forth all night were great, man. You get a "Let's Go Walleye" and a "Let's Go K-Wings" chant going back and forth, and it was until whatever side gave up, basically. It just kept going. They'd play the little drum beat over the arena to start it, and it just continued for another 2 or 3 minutes. There was one point in the second I was about out of a voice. But we weren't giving up. Nobody in that Walleye section would give up. Even if you'd hear one "Let's Go Wings" chant in the corner, the whole section would still go back at them. It could be one kid doing it, and the whole section was back. It was wild.
That's literally like Red Wings and Leafs. You get the "Let's Go Red Wings, Go Leafs, Go" chant. That's a lot of fun to be a part of. So that's pretty cool you were there and got to see that and be a part of it. And
shout out to the fan group too.
I'm sure you met a lot of people.
Yeah, met a ton of people. Shout out to the fan group for making that happen, reaching out to us to get us the link. That was really nice. I really appreciated that. And look forward to hopefully more games here in the future. It does look like we're going to miss the first 2 games of round 2. And I'm not driving to Wheeling from Grand Rapids. I'm not. That's a hike.
Driving to my house, I'll drive.
How far away is it from you?
It's 3 hours from me, but my dad has a cottage that's only an hour and a half away. And he told me go use the cottage. So and Kels is gone next week, but I'm pretty sure if I went by myself to another building without her, that probably wouldn't end well for me. I already get enough flack over Kalamazoo and how I didn't take her there. So we'll see.
Don't tempt me with a good time. That's gonna be interesting. But yeah, it was good to see the boys wrap this one up. I think the whole team overall played well. You want to talk about special standout guys. I mean, Riley McCourt getting his first of the playoffs. It was a great shot by him too. A beautiful, beautiful setup by Doucette But McCourt was all over the ice that night. Again, causing chaos as usual, but at the same time, offensively, all over the place, shooting the puck on net. He had 4 shots in the game again, continuing to up his shot total for the playoffs. And I just thought he played a really good game.
I mean, and even look at goaltending too, right? I mean, we were just talking about how, 4 games with 2 goals or less against, I think it was you said. That's what you need this time of year, right? You need good goaltending and you need to play good team defense. And they played really good team defense, and the goaltenders have just benefited from the improved defensive play from mid-March to even right now. I mean, and I think it's just a credit to the whole team buying into what they're trying to accomplish here.
I only laugh because it's the exact opposite of what we saw last night in Grand Rapids.
Don't get me started on that game. Don't get me started.
Yeah.
No, credit to both the goaltenders, man. They played an incredible series, but credit to Bednar being his first pro playoff series, and he looks calm, cool, collected, like he's been here a million times. And some of the saves he had to step up and make in this game when Kalamazoo was really pouring it on, he had to play out of his mind at some points, and he really did. And I know you guys both saw the piece that shortly after that game, the Walleye released on him, kind of understanding more of his background and like his lead up to pro hockey. And guy's been through it. So like to see him hit this stage, and like I fully believe there's potential for him to be in the AHL at some point here. It's good for him. It's just good for him.
Good success story. Good little heartwarming story. You know, if you haven't checked it out, make sure you follow Toledo and take a look at it. But he had like blood clots that he was dealing with in his arm. And just crazy. They got it operated and successful, and now he's back out there playing goal, like blocking shots with that same arm and everything.
Yeah, he looks good doing it too, man. He's solid. He's solid in net.
Yeah, it's awesome to see, right? And just on the personal side for him to go through something so serious, right? I mean, that's not a minor thing. Blood clots are a huge thing, and that's a pretty serious condition to have. So all the credit to him to be able to bounce back personally, and also for a professional standpoint to come in this year as a rookie, his first full season. And I mean, the development from October to now, I mean, the last month and a half, he's been unbelievable. So it's just amazing. And I think him being with a guy like Letherman too has really helped him personally and professionally, because even Hawkins had told us like what kind of professional that Letherman is. And to have a guy like that to lean on definitely probably helps him out and makes him feel at home.
And just to add one more piece to Bednar there, like we mentioned it in the middle of the season, like the main game that he got lit up in and being able to bounce back. Like even he says like that was kind of the turning point for his career so far, right there in his pro career. And one, it was cool to be like, yep, that's exactly kind of what we thought too. And that's what we've seen going forward here. But to see him bounce back like that and just continue to be this solid, it's so positive for the organization. We've got a lot of good goaltenders in the organization right now. It's absolutely insane.
Yeah, that main game to now, it's like a completely different player, and you just love to see that. He's clearly playing with a confidence that he found almost out of the blue, right? Coming off a game like that. And, you know, some people were like, oh, I don't know about a rookie in net. And, you know, he's had an up and down season. And I mean, the way he had been playing going into the playoffs, I was confident with either guy they put in there. And it's just awesome to see for him.
And you had kind of called that out too, Travis. Like you had said that main game, since then he had a couple shutouts right after, and he was seeing the puck, tracking it really well. And so like when I was watching the video, I'm like, oh, he even called it out himself. I'm like, that was the pivotal moment of the season for him. So I mean, props to you on that, to be able to see that and bring that to our attention too. So that's
yeah, I haven't ran the numbers lately, but he was well over 900 from that game to into April. So save wise. So I mean, and even Hawkins said last year with Costa, like one day the light switch turned on, and it's clearly turned on for Bednar, and that's great to hear and great to see.
Yeah. No, I love everything about it. I mean, both goalies ended, like Bednar ended with a 2.0 goals against, a .934 save percentage for the first round, and Letherman had a 1.97 goals against and a .93 save percentage. I mean, they both faced a similar amount of shots, and they just both played almost alike in that. It was wild.
We have like a Swayman Olmark situation almost with Bednar and Lethman this year.
Just missing the goalie hugs.
Yeah.
So who gets start for game 1?
It'll be Johnny, I would think. Yeah, they're not going to go off this rotation. I don't think. Even if somebody loses a game, I don't see it going anywhere.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. It's going to be Johnny. It'll be Johnny Bedsy, Johnny Bedsy, and hopefully that's it. Hopefully they just rinse and repeat, do the same thing. Be great.
Be great for my pocketbook too, because.
Yeah, that's fair. That drive to Wheeling is going to be a little expensive.
Oh Jesus! Pay as you play plus the season ticket holder payments too.
Ouch. Quick rundown on where some of the boys ended after the first round here, though. Leading the team in points would be, of course, Brandon Hawkins. 8 points in the 4 games, 2 goals, 6 assists, a +8. His shots on goal for the first round, 35.
In 4 games. Almost
in 4 games. Yep. Right behind him in points, Trenton Bliss, 6 points, 3 goals, 3 assists, +8 as well. And Sam Craig's right at the top 3 there with points, actually tied with Lewandowski with 5 points. Sam had 4 goals, 1 assist, and Lewandowski had 1 goal, 4 assists. On the defensive side of the puck, Riley McCourt finished first for defenseman with 4 points, 1 goal, 3 assists, and 14 shots on goal.
That's a lot.
Guy was just firing it, man. I love it. Like, that's what I love. Like, this team is just, they just love to fire the puck at the net.
So the way you can score.
Yeah. I think one thing I would point out too is how well Lewandowski and Sawchuk played despite not being with the team for an extended period of time there towards the end of the season. I mean, they're both in the American League, and they come back and it was like they didn't miss a beat. They just fit right back in. Yeah.
Both a point per game or higher and just didn't miss a beat. It's actually crazy to think about it like that. Yeah. And, you know, you're going to need those guys in the next round. You're going to need them to continue to step up and be like that. And Riley being matched up with different teammates, even brand new guys for the first couple games with the college kids that had just come in. That's actually crazy to see him still produce at the level he did. Actually, those games were some of his highest producing ones. The games he was matched up with them. Once he was taken away from him, he slowed down a little bit. So maybe they got to go back together.
Well, it just gives you an option, right? More flexibility for if you need to get a different look. You know, if things aren't going a certain way in one game, you can always put the lines in a blender and, you know, combinations that have worked in other games. So just another option for Pat and the head coaching staff to deploy.
Speaking of Pat, he broke the streak. He made it out of the first round.
Yeah.
That was the thing that all Walleye fans kind of were questioning if it was going to be able to happen going into this series, and he did. Do you feel the confidence level around Pat is a little higher now?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's just there's so many unknowns, right? You're used to this, like the stability of Waddy, and then you get a new coach and you see kind of like up and down, up and down, up and down, and then like early exits in the playoffs in this past. And, you know, that's in the past. This is now, and you don't want to just judge a book by its cover, but obviously a lot of people are going to do that, right? It's just part of how it goes. But to see him just come in against a team that they struggled with and how they just completely dominated this series for most of the games, it felt like. I mean, there was a couple close games, but still just all the credit to him, right? You know, and Hawkins talked very highly of him. And I think if you hear that and have kind of seen how this year's gone, you should be a little bit more of a believer by now, I think. I know he's really like impressed me in the second half of the season, because I was kind of like, oh boy, middle of the year. Like I was a little worried. Not gonna lie, I was a little worried, but they righted the ship, and all the credit to the coaching staff, the leadership group, and all the players.
Like watching it on our end, or at least on my end, like the beginning of the season, they played so well. Then they kind of go through their troubles, and I'm like, looking into this guy a little bit more, and I'm like, what is going on? His playoff record's not there. The team is falling apart. What is this? Like, what's going on here? So I didn't believe. I thought like this was going to be an early round exit. I really did. And then they get matched up against Kalamazoo, where they just had Kalamazoo had their number all year. And I'm like, oh, great. Like, here we go. Like, this is what it's going to be like. And then Toledo just turns it on. It's like they flipped to last year's playoff run. And now they've won how many in a row?
It's 18 straight dating back to the regular season, which, it's crazy how fast they grow up. They're almost out of their teens.
What was the record last year? Was it
18?
Oh, it was 18. Okay. So I remember because I was there in Kalamazoo on the 18th win. Yeah, we hit 18 when I was in Kalamazoo last year, and so then they did it again this year at 18. So it'll be exciting to see how long they can keep this streak going, because last year they swept the first 2 rounds.
Yeah. And
So,
it's funny too, because my one buddy Ryan, Brandon, met him last weekend. Like when it was at like 7 or 8, I'd be walking like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh yeah, we're here, and now I'm out of hands, right? And past 10,
so using some toes.
Yeah, I only 2 more. I'd be completely out.
Yeah,
But
it's crazy to think that they're at this point again. Like 18
the
in
timing
a row.
of it, right? And it's almost like it kind of came out of nowhere, but hey, you're not going to be upset about it, right? It's like I was talking to some guys at work. They were like, you got walleye this weekend? I said, yeah. I said that, they swept the first round, and then I mentioned they've won 18 straight games, and they were like, what? I was like, well, they did this last year too. And they were like, what?
It's not an easy thing to do, like in any league. And so like even when they did it last year, it was super impressive. And like to do it again this year with playoff games, I think is even more impressive. And like we saw in the A with Milwaukee going on there, 19, was it 19? So what we ended
19
at?
game. Yep.
We ended at 19. So I'm like looking at that streak, and then like the Griffins go on an 18 game point streak or something, some crazy streak like that. So it's just crazy. Like it's good for the organization,
Yeah, and even like the post-game press, like I want to say press conferences, interviews, they're all like, it's one game at a time. It's one game at a time. It's one game at a time. Like they're not focused on that, right? There's bigger things for them to do than string out as many wins as they're going to win, right? It's just there's a more important goal here, and you can see it. And I think the fans are like, we're so close, but it's like, and my one buddy was like, well, it doesn't mean nothing if they don't win the cup at the end of the year. And I was like, you're not wrong. That's definitely true. Yeah, but still an amazing accomplishment.
These boys aren't going to lose another game.
That'd be insane.
That would be absolutely bonkers. But yeah, like you said, if you ask the boys right now how many games in a row they won, they're probably gonna tell you we don't care. Like,
right.
That is
more
what
worried about the next one.
Yep. And that's how it should be. And I love that mentality. So any final thoughts to wrap up the first round here before we preview the next round against good old Wheeling?
No, I think that was the kind of series they needed, right? To instill even more confidence to an already confident team. You go in there, beat a team in 4 games that's really been a thorn in your side, quite frankly, for the whole season. And I think it's just going to only help this team.
Go Fish.
That's all you got.
That's all I got. I said everything that I wanted to say. Like we wrapped it up with what I had. Like you come into Kalamazoo, you sweep them. You had trouble with them all year. I didn't believe in Pat Mickish because his first round has been terrible when he was in the USHL. And now he's got me believing. And I'm like, all right, we're going to the cup. We're going to win it. Let's go.
It's the right attitude right there. Well, perfect. Well, with that does wrap the first round. Congrats again to the Walleye on that one. And again, congrats to Kalamazoo on a heck of a season for themselves. But the boys get to move on, and we're going to move on to the ad break here real quick. And then when we come back, we're going to preview the upcoming matchup between Wheeling. So, Nick, go read the ad.
The chase for the Stanley Cup is on, and if you're looking to light the lamp, nothing beats the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. From the start of playoff periods all the way to hoisting of the cup, DraftKings Sportsbook has you covered with same-game parlays, live betting, odds boosts, and so much more. Unfortunately, the Wings didn't make the playoffs, so I'll be betting on the Dallas Stars at a plus 1200 to win the cup. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use code THPN. New customers can bet $5 to get $200 instantly in bonus bets. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook with code THPN. The crowd is yours. Problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467369. In Connecticut, help go for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Bill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 plus age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. cdkng.com/football for eligibility and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gaming resources.
And welcome back. All right, it's time to preview round 2 for the Toledo Walleye, the Central Division Finals, correct?
Yep.
Perfect. Against the Wheeling Nailers. So, Travis, walk us through, because I know nothing about Wheeling at all.
Well, we didn't see them a ton this year. We only really played. We were scheduled to play them 5 times. Only played them 4 times because the Ohio River had a mind of its own. But yeah, they went 2-1-1 against them. The last game, like I just kind of mentioned, was postponed and then eventually canceled because it had no impact on seeding for the playoffs. So they didn't have any point in playing. And plus, it was the Friday before the end of the season. The last playoff meeting was in 2021-2022. Toledo won that series 4-0 in a series that a lot of people were worried, kind of like the Kalamazoo effect this year. We kind of struggled with them, if I recall, that year a little bit, and it came out in 4 games and it was over, and it was like, oh boy. But so Toledo's record was 47-14. 4-5 for 103 points, and Wheeling's was 38-28, 4-1 for 81 points. So another similar spread point wise. We're almost about 20 points better. 2-3-2 format this go around, but I mean that's pretty much your overall preview for.
Right, so 2, 3. So they're doing 2 Toledo, 3 in Wheeling. Then last 2, if necessary, would be in Toledo.
Yep. So game 1 is this Friday. Game 2 is this Saturday. And then game 3 is next Wednesday in Wheeling. Game 4 is next Friday in Wheeling. Game 5 is that Saturday after in Wheeling. And then game 6 and 7 will be back in Toledo on Monday and Tuesday the following week.
Now, are they playing actually in Wheeling's arena, or are they playing in their practice arena?
To my knowledge, they're playing at West Banco Arena, yeah, which is Wheeling's actual arena.
Because I know they had at least one game in the last round that they played in the practice arena, which I think was the final game where they won it.
Yeah, and I think there was like 800 people there.
800?
Yeah, because it's like literally the Penguins practice arena.
Yeah, Nick, that'd be like going and watching a playoff game at Griff's Ice House, but a little bit bigger.
It's freezing there, so that's the good thing. But dang, that's so that's. Did it sell out at least?
I have no idea.
God, I would hope so.
that arena is still bigger than Mullet, though, right?
It might be.
It actually is smaller than Mullet.
I'm kidding.
Okay, so who are the superstar players for them? Who are the guys to watch out for? I know their goalie is something of a pretty good goaltender.
Goaltender of the year, and he will be back with them. He hasn't played, I forget if it was mid-February or mid-March with an undisclosed injury. Jackson Castor played all 5 games in the first round for them, but their goaltender won goalie of the year. His name is Taylor, might butcher this, but Taylor, I'm going to guess Gauthier would be his name. I don't, that could be wrong. He had a 24-16 1-1 record with a .923 save percentage and a 2.23 goals against average in the regular season.
Holy smokes.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah, he was their backbone all year. Toledo did beat him in one game, and I think he beat Toledo in another game. So they played him twice of the 4 meetings.
So we're looking at a matchup of the goalies here.
Most likely, kind of a similar situation. They only had 2 guys with 50 points, and Toledo had 8. So similar to the Kalamazoo matchup. I didn't jot their names down, to be honest. But their double-digit goal scorers, Wheeling had 11, and Toledo had 11.
Okay.
That's on their active playoff roster. They did have a couple other guys that for some reason aren't on the roster. But so I mean 10 goals or more, each team had 11. So I obviously Toledo had more guys with 20 plus, but it's going to come down to goaltending. I think this is going to be a tight series.
So you said one of the goalies wasn't there for half the season?
The guy that won goalie of the year, he got hurt in like mid-February or mid-March. I don't remember which it was, to be honest with you, but he has not played since then.
That's crazy. Like he was out for that long and still won goal, like a major award for the league.
Yeah. He had 42 games played at that point.
That's a lot. That is
a
ton.
Yep. And he won the Nick Vitucci Goaltender of the Year award. He has not played at any level since March 16th because of an undisclosed injury. That's per Mark Monroe, the Toledo Blue. And he had 42 games played.
That's crazy. That's insane.
So he's playing like every night.
Do you think they start with him then?
I would assume. I mean, if he's good enough to go, how do you keep Goaltender of the Year on the bench, right? They had 3 goaltenders on their roster, their active playoff roster. It was a little weird. They had a lot of guys in Wilkes-Barre. They didn't have like an actual finalized roster on their website. When I was looking into their team, they had like 7 or 8 guys that were eligible, and they actually had Garrett Sparks as an eligible goaltender. But I would assume that it'll be Jackson Castor and Taylor. I'm going with Gauthier.
Yeah, because Wilkes-Barre's done in the playoffs.
Right. So you would think it would be Jackson and Taylor.
Or Wilkes-Barre didn't. Oh yeah, they got bounced 2-0.
Well, it'd probably be smart to carry 3 just in case, because like with Taylor's injury coming back, you don't know how he's going to respond. Is he going to come back and be the same guy that he was before the injury or not? Like, for me, like I would run the guy that's been hot, like the guy that won your last series. I would stick with Jackson. But if this guy's head and shoulders above everybody else, like it's going to be an interesting game 1. I would say.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it. Right, just to see if Taylor plays or if they go to Jackson. It's going to be interesting. And to kind of give you a little more insight on like the overall how they match up against each other, Toledo's power play was 25.3% in the regular season to Wheeling at 20.5%. And then the penalty kills were Toledo at 81.3 to Wheeling 77.7. And then goals for, Toledo was at 4.07 and Wheeling was at 3.26. And goals against was Toledo at 2.91 and Wheeling at 2.87. So goals against and goals for not too far apart from each other, really. I mean, Toledo definitely got a little bit more with goals for, but goals against pretty close, and goals against the game as an average for the whole season.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting series to watch. It's really going to come down to the goaltending and can Toledo play their game? Can they continue to play their fast-paced game? If Wheeling can shut that down, that's a concern. But I have so much faith in Toledo being able to actually play their game after seeing them execute the game plan against a rough and tough Kalamazoo team that tried to knock them off of it so many times. And the fact that you're going to see the last 2 ECHL goaltenders of the year face off in this series, like that's right there is going to be crazy. And I assume you're going to see a split still between Bednar and Letherman. So
Right.
it's going to be interesting to see what Wheeling does here. I'm kind of on Nick's side on that one, where I would start the guy who won you 5, but at the same time, how do you sit the other guy? Like, it's so
Good
hard.
problem to have, right? And we just kind of talked about it with Toledo and with Bednar and Letherman, right? It's a good problem to have. And
It is.
it's going to be very interesting because, like you just said, back-to-back goaltender of the year is playing against each other. That's probably your game 1 matchup, unless they do go back to Jackson for Wheeling. But that would be fun to watch, right? See the last 2 goaltenders of the year for the league play against each other in the first or second round of the playoffs.
Do you think this is going to come down to being like a super tight series then, like a 1-goal like game, or do you think this will be more like Kalamazoo, where it's like what was the first game? It was like 3-2, 4-2, 5-2, and then they just kept adding each game. It seemed like they just put one more goal on top of them.
So your matchups: 6-5 shootout loss for Toledo, 4-2 loss for Toledo, 3-2 win for Toledo, and a 3-2 win for Toledo.
I'm guessing the losses were during the stretch where we were kind of scratching our heads going, what is this Toledo Walleye team?
I think so. I think the 6-5 shootout loss was actually, I want to say it was 5-1 going into the third period in a kids' day, like a 10:30 a.m. game. It was like a school day game.
Right.
And Toledo rattled off 4, and then they lost in a shootout, which it was probably Bednar, but that's neither here nor there. He struggled in the shootouts this year. So,
well, good thing they don't have those in the playoffs, eh?
That's right. Play until she ends, right?
So, I mean, based on those scores in the regular season, granted, a very different Toledo team now. Even with good goaltending on each side, we could be looking at a high-scoring series.
You could. I mean, right? 6-5, 4-2, but then there's the 2-3-2 games. I mean, that's pretty low scoring.
I mean, still a 3-2 game in the playoffs is still, I would consider, good enough goals to make a person happy,
5 goals,
but,
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, who knows? This is going to be an interesting one. So I guess that begs the next question. Boys, it's prediction time. Nick, what's your prediction for the series?
Oh, why are you going to pick on me first? I hate
He did it last time, too. He went
first. You did.
God dang it. All right. These boys aren't going to lose the game the rest of the season. We're going sweep 4-0.
Whoa. All right. Travis?
I got it. I'm going 6. I think this is going to go a lot. This could even go 7, but I think it's going to go 6 with Toledo coming home and winning it on home ice.
All right. And I'm going 5. This is the last round we had 2 of us say 5, and this time we're all different. So we got 4, 5, and 6 here.
I think the different format, right? It makes it so much different, right? You go from a 2-1 or 2-2-1-1-1 format in the last series to a 2-3-2 format. That's big difference. And you get 3 in a row on the road after 2 in a row at home. So like if you're going to probably have to win a road game somewhere, and you get them 3 in a row, it's not like you get to come home for a home game to kind of reset and try to win in a home ice. I think the 2-3-2 format, I don't really care for it myself. I like the 2-2-1-1-1 myself, but building availability and travel with the ECHL kind of limits what they can do. So the 2-3-2 format, I think it can lead to longer series. And if you paid attention to what the Florida Everblades just did, prime example.
What'd they do?
They were down 3-1, came back and won in 7 games.
Yeah.
And that was 2-3-2 as well.
It's possible. So what I like in Toledo's favor in this one, even with that format, is that the travel time for them is not different than the first round. It's about the same to get to Wheeling from Toledo. And the schedule for the days that they're playing is the exact same.
For the first 5, I think 6 and 7 were different days, but they didn't go that far anyways in the first round, so it really doesn't matter.
Exactly. You had game 1 and 2 at home on a Friday, Saturday. We have that again. You had game 3 on a Wednesday in Kalamazoo. We've got that again. And then you've got game 4 on a Friday in Wheeling as well. We had that Kalamazoo. And if necessary, obviously game 5 would also be in Wheeling, which would have been different, but at the same time, we didn't get there. So
You're
the
playing
fact
on
that
the
it's
same days. You're playing on the same days. So
the consistency of preparation and getting ready can stay the same for the whole thing because they also got the exact same amount of days off between the series as they did getting ready for the playoffs from the regular season.
I was
So
gonna
it's
ask
huge,
that.
right?
Yeah, rinse and repeat how you prepared for the series and just do it again.
Yeah,
That's
and
really all you need to do.
I'm just gonna say this: you're gonna want to keep an eye on the other series in the West, right? 1 versus 3, you got Idaho and Kansas City. So, should Toledo get through this round, hopefully they do. You're gonna play a really good team, right? Like Kansas City was number 1 in the West in the overall ECHL, and Idaho was number 3 in the West. So, just a side note, that should be a really good series to watch.
Yeah, I'll definitely be tuning into any games I possibly can with that one just to kind of see what the competition looks like there. I don't know who I want to win that one. Like,
I don't want the guys to have to deal with Idaho again.
yeah, there was a lot there outside of just the actual gameplay itself. So,
I mean, if
for those that don't know, go look it up.
if they have to play Idaho, sorry, do you think they would go with the 7-0 series kind of thing? All 7 in Toledo.
I wish.
That way
The
they don't
boys
have to
wish that too.
deal with the cots and sleeping in the arenas, things like that.
Well,
Yeah.
what made a lot of people mad last year, right? There was a series in the first round that was 3-4, a 3-4 format, 3 on the road and then 4 at home for the team with home ice. And they could have done that for the Toledo Idaho series just off building availability. And it wasn't apparently good enough. And then Toledo had the issues, but we're not going to go into that.
Hey, at least it's not, home ice advantage in the first round. And you're doing a 1 on the road, then 2 at home, then 1 and 1. Like,
yeah, that's so
still don't-
bizarre. That's so bizarre. You'd think they would have moved the other game at Van Andel up so they could have had the Griffins at home for games 1 and 2.
Oh, that would have made just too much sense. I didn't even realize, though, I forgot about this, winning the division in the AHL. If you win the Central, you still got to play your first 2 games on the road in a best of 5. Milwaukee's doing their first 2 in Texas.
And they just lost.
And they just lost the first one.
And blew 2-0 lead.
Yep.
What?
The potential for that series to be wild is just, it's there. Like, if Dallas gets bounced, like, oh my God, Stankoven's coming back. It's going to be stupid. Like, yeah.
The series
Must watch.
just makes me nervous. So it makes me so nervous.
Yeah. But that's for the Griffins episode next week. We'll talk about that then. Not today. But
there's my
anything
Griffins
else?
Content for all of the Griffins people.
Yeah, there you go. Travis, anything else you want to get out there for the people for this series as we get heading into this one? Any final thoughts?
No, I mean, if you see me walking around this weekend, feel free to stop me, say hello. I'll have stickers. Brandon gave me his whole inventory, so
He's the only guy with stickers. We got to get some of those ordered. Well, Nick has some still, I think, but
Yeah, I saw some.
yeah, definitely stop by and say hi to Travis and go Walleye, man. Let's do this again. I love this. I don't know how I'd mentally be able to handle if the Red Wings, the Griffins, and the Walleye were all in at the same time. So I'm kind of glad it's like this right now. Like,
God, it would be so
and the series
bad.
have been so separated, like the Walleye having the week off. All right, cool. Shift to the Griffins and focus. Now this is the first weekend where it's like, boom, both are playing, but they're not playing on the same day still. Like, we still get that separation at least. So thank God.
Well, tomorrow they play. They both play. But
yeah.
Oh God, you're right.
Our group message is going to be a fiasco this weekend.
Yep, because $2 beers at the Griffins game too. So
Still waiting on that in Toledo.
good Lord, give me those $2 big cups, man. I am in. I will drive for that game, and then I would not be able to drive home, 100%. So, yeah. Any final thoughts from you, Nick?
No final thoughts. I'm excited just to be able to like with my work schedule and everything, being able to watch them. I mean, that's gonna be huge to be able to like really sit down and watch a full game on Saturday. Just be able to sit down and watch the game. I'm excited to be able to watch that and be able to focus a little bit more on the Walleye with the Griffins having that down day. So I'm excited. That'll be good. And hopefully, like, it doesn't look like there's going to be any games in this series that we can go to. So I'm hoping that they can hopefully, win this one in the next round. There's a game or two that we can get to. I don't know. it's getting tougher with vacations at work and things like that. So, I mean, let's just get to the Cup finals, and I'll call in at that point to get down there.
I will say, quick, going back to the Idaho Kansas City, if you want Toledo to have home ice, you're going to be rooting for Idaho in that series. Just an FYI.
Yeah, I'll have to unpack that one mentally there. And the excuses of not being able to go to this round are going to stack up here, and I can already hear Hawk telling us that's horseshit. So,
yeah, you got told that. Didn't you get told that personally at the one game?
I did. Yes, he told Nick's excuse for not being at Kalamazoo was horseshit. So there's that, Nick. You can own that one for the rest of your life. Have fun.
Yeah, I'll own that. Hopefully we'll see you soon, Hawk. Hopefully soon.
Maybe I'll run
Round
into
3.
And it'll be it's horse shit that both of you didn't come on Saturday because the Griffins didn't play. I doubt I'll run into him, but never know.
You never know.
Yeah. Such is life, right?
Yeah.
Well, with that, this wraps up this Toledo episode here, this preview of round 2 versus Wheeling. Again, game 1 and 2 in Toledo on Friday and Saturday. Good luck getting tickets. It's pretty much impossible, but if you happen to stumble upon some and can go, definitely get down there and go. And with that, we're all set here. So thank you to everyone for listening. Shout out to our sponsors, Everything Hockey. Go to everythinghockey.com, use code WEST, save $3 off your entire order. Shout out to our other sponsor, DraftKings. Use code THPN when you're betting with them for the first time. And shout out to the Hockey Podcast Network for being great partners with us as always. Thank you, boys, both for doing this tonight. It's a little later than usual for one of these episodes, but we got it done. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Have a fantastic weekend. Go Walleye, go Griffins, and we'll talk to y'all on Monday.
Go Fish. Love you. Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to the Hockeytown West Podcast. Be sure to check us out on Twitter at HockeytownWPod and your host, Nick at GR Hockey Guy and Brandon at Brandon GR Hockey.